clean the room, okay?
And then she still has to.
Right. Should the father put Angela on a self-limiting timeout?
Yes. So she can see nothing's gonna happen until
Oh, you were saying
that
something.
time out. Basically, that's why you give
Yeah.
yourself time out, because you need to realize that
I mean, ultimately,
you're not
that's
getting
what
ready.
it is.
Yeah, that time out is
Serious,
serious.
I would disrespect their
Yes.
attitude. She made me want to do the work, you know, like, but they weren't gonna do the shit that I done.
Yeah, that kind of
Been doing it. I had to get in there with them and do it, work and do it.
I think if you say
They
you're
were
getting more
complaining
time
about
than
how
you
they
need, I
don't know
think
what
you
to
should
do, and they
go back and
out.
say, but you
I
must
don't know
clean
what
your
you
room.
did. We're going to get it done right now. But I think that question, we're gonna take the dirt hose and the they don't need piles of papers or garbage, like, we need Facebook, the diary.
She's still young.
Because she's still screaming and saying no.
But they need to facilitate, they couldn't figure out what to.
You know, organization.
I mean, you do this section
you know,
first.
things she needs to do. If you don't start
You
here
know what I
now,
mean?
she
You
will
have places
know.
to put the things for all adjustment, and let's put them away.
All right, guys, so we're gonna go in.
Okay.
We'll,
Have places for that stuff.
all right, so on question number 1, should Angela receive a fixed timeout for refusal and disrespectful attitude?
I got an answer.
Huh?
I got an answer.
What is it?
Okay, she should get a self-limiting timeout because she's
Before her fixed.
before a fixed timeout because she's throwing a fit. So it's like once you calmed yourself down and you're ready, then this time will start. Right? So,
Exactly.
And you have
And take as long as you need.
yeah.
Right, that's it. Exactly, that's exactly the way that they want it to work out. All right, if yes, how long should a fixed timeout be?
9.
9. Why?
She's 9.
Because she's 9 years old, exactly. Okay, so after taking her fixed timeout, Angela still refuses to clean her room. Should her father put her on a self-limiting timeout?
Yes.
Yes, right. So that's the whole idea. These timeouts are what's got to get to work for us. Okay, so yes, she does clean her room. She's on a self-limiting timeout until
She's ready to clean the room.
she's ready to clean the room. That's right. And then she'll come up and she'll clean her room. Exactly. Should the father use the words "take as much time as you need"?
Yes.
Yes, excellent. All right, thank you. Will you read the point for us, please?
Children must learn self-discipline to complete constructive tasks on their own. The concept is best learned at home because children are not intrinsically motivated to complete many of their tasks. It's up to the parents to supply extrinsic motivation to ensure children move forward in life. Self-limiting and fixed timeouts are highly effective tools in helping children learn and grow.
All right, thanks. And we learned about that last week, right? Intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Yeah.
What were they?
Intrinsic motivation is what you're internally motivated to do. For example, you're here this morning. You're intrinsically motivated to be here because you're not here because you're getting paid. You're not here because you're here because something inside of you says, you know what, I want to go there. I'm interested.
Okay.
Now, when we go to work, that's an external motivation, right? Why I go to work because I get a paycheck. I go to work. Some people love to work and they go to work because they would even go to work if you didn't get paid, right? Some
No.
people would. Yeah. not most of us, right? So intrinsic motivation is stuff that we're motivated to do on our own. Just comes naturally. So children have the same thing. Normally they're motivated on their own to play, to go outside and play with their friends, play video games, watch TV. They're intrinsically motivated to do that. But when it comes to wash the dishes, wash clothes, or do something, do their homework, we need to apply that extrinsic motivation, and usually it's the stuff away, taking the stuff away. That's the motivation that we use. So just to keep that, we went over through that last week. All right. All right, let's go on to holding on.
133.
Page 133, yeah. It says, I'm going to read here.
Is this like a refined sitting in the corner of the classroom with a desk cap? Like,
What, the timeout?
Yeah, just curious. It kind of reminds me of, like when you got in trouble in the school back in the old days. You
Yeah.
had to sit in the corner of the classroom with a desk cap.
Yeah, they didn't really do that, did they?
I just
That was more,
They
I
didn't do
think.
it when I was
I
in
remember.
I think what's happening is timeouts have gotten a negative perception, and throughout time, people have thought this isn't gonna work, this doesn't work. So then, I think in school, I don't know if that ever really happened in school. I know they put the dunce hat. Really? I know teachers would hit kids before, so I know we've come a long way as a society, right? or have we? So It's a timeout. The idea, yeah, it's a timeout. But I don't know about the guns hat thing. That's, you know, that's a little too far, man. That's a little too far. We want to construct them to teach them good stuff. But yes, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. It says, holding on. It's not uncommon for impulsive kids to run out of the house or follow their parents around the house, kicking or hitting mom and dad. When kids become this emotional, it may be necessary to physically hug and restrain the child. We are not trying to control the child. We are trying to keep the child from hurting himself or others. Parents can even gently rock their child back and forth until the child is calm. Over time, children learn that hitting and running are not the answer. All right, winning the battle. You have seen some children take a full day. We have seen some children take a full day and 1/2 before taking on an 8-minute timeout. When this happens, children should, of course, have normal meals and bedtimes. But remember, as parents, we cannot give in. The acting out will only stop when our children are convinced that mom and dad will no longer give in. Can someone please read for us, maybe in the last table over there, where it says winning the battle on page 133 aloud. On page 133, please. Winning the battle,
Okay, where we at?
winning the battle.
Okay. We have heard some parents say that the children have chosen to be on a self-limiting timeout as much as a full day and a half before taking an 8-minute fixed timeout. Once again, we recognize how frustrating and time-consuming this process can be. Nevertheless, parents must not give in when their children act out or refuse to cooperate. When parents give in to acting out behavior by shortening or not enforcing a timeout, they actually teach their children to act out again in the future. But as soon as parents are able to convince their children that mom and dad are not going to give in, children's refusal periods become shorter and shorter. One mom we worked with said that if she refused to give in to her child, he would make life and their home miserable. The question we posed to this parent was, do you choose to be miserable for the period of time it will take to convince your child that you will no longer give in, or will you choose to be miserable for the rest of your life?
Okay, thank you. It says we should all ask ourselves that same question. If we believe behaviors we see will just disappear, if we believe behaviors we see now will just disappear, or someone say they'll grow out of it, we are fooling ourselves. Parents who allow childhood behaviors to go unchecked will unfortunately face more destructive behaviors when children reach adolescent years. All right, so it says extending timeouts. When parents have used standard timeouts of an adequate period of time, let's say 3 to 4 weeks, and see no change in the child's behavior, extended timeouts may be appropriate. Extended timeouts should be reserved for children 8 to 10 years of age. Extended timeouts should be compared to grounding an adolescent child. Extended timeout refers to both times and things. Let's read on. So sometimes our 3 minutes, 4 minutes timeouts aren't functioning, then we have to extend that time a little more. So then you get into, we have to do it for hours or a day or longer, okay? But if the short ones work, that's what we want to do. If it's not working, then we start adding more time to get them to do what we need them to do. Okay, let's read the example.
Yeah. On 134. So on this table, can we just get do the example 1, example 2, example 3?
Just start with the example.
Yep, just start with the example.
Example 1. 9-year-old Lisa continues to kick and hit her younger sibling. Parents use a 10-minute timeout consistently for 3 weeks, but the behavior continues. At this point, her parents follow the timeout with a 2-hour grounding, where she is allowed to move around the house but is not able to access the TV, computer, leave the house, go outside, or have anything on her list. She stands against the wall for the timeout only, but may only read or draw during her grounding.
Example 2.
Example 2. 8-year-old Dominic asks his mother if he can ride his bicycle. The mother says no, explaining that it is too dark for the bike riding. Dominic, knowing full well he is breaking the rule, chooses to ride his bike anyway. In this case, in addition to timeout, Dominic finds himself grounded for the remainder of the evening. and loses the use of the bicycle for all of the following day.
Example 3.
Example 3. Julio hits his younger brother with a tight fist, cutting the younger brother's lip. In this case, the seriousness of the incident warrants a timeout followed by a grounding for the rest of the day. Grounding this child additionally for a full morning or afternoon and seeking the advice of a mental health care professional are recommended.
Thank you. So naturally, when children are on extended timeouts for the entire morning, afternoon, or evening, they should not be kept from meals, sleep, or opportunities to go to the bathroom. Parents should not ask the child to sit or stand in one spot. The idea here is simply to remove the child from their list of things or their normal reinforcers. Because of the extended time, parents should help their children occupy the time with reading or drawing. Children should also eat their meals with the rest of the family and go to bed at their normal time. It is important to remember that the more impulsive the child, the shorter extended timeout should be. Parental consistency is far more important than the length of the timeout. And then if you don't mind reading page 134, the last 2 paragraphs. Starts when using groundings.
In using groundings, it is important to remember that the more impulsive the child, the shorter the grounding should be. Consistency is far more important when shaping behavior than the length of the timeout of grounding. When extending the list of things, parents should consider junk or snack food and treats, favorite clothes, toys, and other things the child thoroughly enjoys. In addition to a standard timeout, these items could be removed for up to an additional day, 24 hours. Due to the short-term nature of our children's thinking, we recommend that when parents use this strategy, they remind their children that after the 24-hour consequence, everything returns to normal. Remember, longer periods of timeout cause younger children to lose hope, to forget all about not having their favorite toy, or to forget the reason they were asked to take the timeout in the first place. In most cases, the normal, consistent use of timeout will help to shape children's behavior. Therefore, parents should not jump to groundings too soon. Allow the normal consequence to do their work. In other cases, however, like the examples given in this section, invoking a grounding helps children understand the seriousness of the incident and that mom and dad will not tolerate unwanted behavior nor give in to their child's refusals to cooperate.
So remember that the extended timeout, just looking at the slide up here, is used with older children, so about 8 to 10. Reserved for out-of-control behaviors, so we don't want to, that's not the first thing that we want to do. And obviously used only when 3 to 4 weeks of standard timeouts has failed to bring behavioral change. So if you're not seeing any change from basically the first time that you attended this class, right?
Yeah.
So,
And using the small timeouts of taking things away for a short period of time, minutes to hours, to however you're using it at the beginning. If that's not working, and we extend it to them.
What if you have one child that's acting out and the other one's being fine, and then you say, okay, no more TV for the rest of the night, then the other one doesn't get to watch TV, and it's almost like, what do you do in that kind of situation?
I would talk to the other child and see if they're, if they can be in it with you. Because I know that sometimes siblings do have another brother or sister that drives them crazy, and they want to help you too. So is it, I get it, you've been behaving, and now I'm going to take the TV away from both of you.
Yeah.
But is it worth it if all of a sudden he does start behaving and we don't have to do it? I think it helps them as well, as brothers and sisters, to help us out. I don't know if you have anything else to.
When you they can go to the room. They can't do anything but draw in the room. That's hard too, because it's hard to manage them when they have stuff in the room.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I would do. I would say to my kids too.
And sometimes we only have
keep
one
an eye on
TV, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm talking about. We're taking your other son or daughter as an ally.
Yeah.
I know I'm not trying to punish you, but we want to make sure that all of us in the family are following, the rules and that we all have the same values.
That's like military, right? It's like one person messes up, everybody has to pay for that one person.
And it's not so much paying for it, but I think it's working as a team because we all want to be a united family. I don't think,
It teaches you how to work as a team.
Exactly,
So
to
if
work as a
somebody's
team.
acting up, then the other people are quick to be, hey, come on, man.
Yeah, if you can get that, that's great, right? If you got your
Yeah.
siblings helping each other out, yeah.
right, and normally they do, because normally, a lot of times, if you scream at your kids, and because they're arguing, and then you walk away, and then the kids start talking to each other, and they're okay. And then all of a sudden, you're the bad person, you're the mean one, and they've been able to work it out themselves. So why not join in that positivity versus, you're the person that's gonna always tell them or scream at them about something, but they actually never get to have their voice heard or be in the actual discipline, you know.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to read the activity. We're not going to do it, but it says our 9-year-old son asked if he can go to his friend's house. You say, no, son, it's too late. You only have 10 minutes until bedtime. 5 minutes later, you discover our son went over to his friend's house anyways. He tells us, I had to go. We were on level 7 of mud motocross. Billy can't play by himself. What else could I do? All right, so our job, the activity would be to figure out what we would do. But of course, what we would do is we would put him on a timeout, and he would probably be, of course, on a timeout. Stay calm, not to argue with the child, right? Because you might want to argue with him. That could probably all drive us to get a little bit angry, right? If he leaves when we tell him not to leave. Okay, so then, but of course, keep calm, and of course, we give him the timeout. That would be the consequence that we would want.
And
Okay.
the point here,
And the
children
point-
must learn that running out of the house, sitting, and refusals to cooperate will not give them what they want. The sooner parents are able to help the child see that these behaviors only make matters worse, the sooner the behaviors will stop. And there's a note here, whenever parents find themselves having to use frequent and multiple groundings, they should seek the advice of a mental health care professional.
And I don't know if in your culture it's like in our culture, but in our culture, like think that seeing a mental health specialist means you're crazy. Yeah, and that's not true. I mean, mental health is a very fine thing, and nowadays, who couldn't use some good advice from somebody else, right? Who couldn't use some feedback, a different perspective? Maybe someone is seeing it a different way. They can help me maybe see it a different way. So talking to a mental health professional is, and now it's covered in health insurance, so that's great. And so, but talking to a mental health professional could be something really helpful for our family, not only for my kids, maybe also for myself, but talking to someone about our problems or our situations or how they can help, it helps everyone. So keep that in mind if that's something that you think will help. All right, effective action plans. All right, effective action plan. It says planning is an important part of addressing behavior change, especially with the serious behaviors. Action plans can be developed for any unwanted childhood behavior. We have decided to address and should always be developed for the more serious behaviors. Action plans also help us feel better about a relationship with our children. All right, so we'll look at so here's a way that we can think about before we act to communicate with our children. So oftentimes we're not really used to thinking about or planning our conversations with our kids. If this is something that the book is suggesting, when we've taken the time to calm down, we've walked away, we're going to think of this for ourselves. So the first sentence says, tell your child how you feel. If we look on page 136, how about we get, can you refer first, please? Step 1.
136?
Yes.
Number 1, I love statement. Tell your children how you feel. In this opening statement to their child, parents should A, state how much the parents love the child. B, tell the child why the parents are concerned about the behavior. C, ask the child why the behavior is occurring. D, ask the child if everything is okay. And E, actively listen to the child's responses.
Okay, thank you. So that's the first thing we're going to do, make a foundation of I love statement. This is why I'm caring, right? If I didn't care, I wouldn't be asking, right? If I didn't care what you were doing, go do whatever, right? No, but I'm here, I love you, I want to know what's going on. Okay, the second step, please.
I want to establish the rule and then expect success. Parents should clearly restate the house rule regarding the behavior. Remember to focus on observable behavior rather than attitude, since we often get what we expect. expect success.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Do you have a question before you move on about the love statement and about the reoccurring behavior? And just say, listen to your child respond.
yes.
I find that when I ask Hayden about his behavior and why he, did certain things, to another child, he'll respond and tell me, well, I told him to let me go, and he wouldn't. And I told him, he was hurting me, and he wouldn't. So, of course, he bit the child's hand to break the hold. And then I explained to him, well, that's not okay. And when we go back to school the next day, he said, why you keep bringing me to this place? This place is killing me. And I said, no, Hayden. His response is that that's the way he feels. That's how he talked to me. And I said, no, the place is not killing you. You have to learn how to keep your hands to yourself. And then he said, well, you don't want me to protect myself? And I said, yes, I do want you to protect yourself, but you have to have another way. Can't you use your words? He said, well, I told him. Isn't that a use of my words? But he wouldn't let me go, and he was breaking my bones, and he was hurting me. I said, okay, Hayden. But here we go again. He'll say, but you bring me back here, so I got to go back over the same thing. So I just don't say nothing. I said, well, you'll be okay. I just kind of like close it off, because I keep saying, he'll go back. But this place, he'll reenact and said,